Hello there. Do you ever feel upset about the mistreatment of others? Or is that just fucking me anymore?
Well, we did it. We're here. Somebody finally pissed me off so much that I came to YouTube to gripe about the way that people act and actually be passionate for one. I wanted to try to make this organized, but I only have 5 days left in my home. Today's going to be especially hard. This is my first time coming out on YouTube. So I'm transgender and yay, great. It's awesome. And in order to tell you my story today, we gotta talk about how terrible the community itself is. And because of what has happened to me these last few days, I'm going to make a video called The Problem with Trans Women in the Trans Community. And I hope it makes people mad because hopefully it makes you do better. I've been having a lot of issues recently with feeling like I'm not being properly represented within the community. I feel like trans language is only there for trans women. I think it's really strange how a group went from being the most privileged majority to being the most privileged minority, and they're just allowed to have all that power, even though from what I've been experiencing, they have no interest on like handling things right. I feel like a lot of trans women lead into these misogynistic stereotypes, and it's just not cutting it. It's not it. There's got to be communication, there's got to be maturity, because women are raised to be adults that are capable of anything. Boys are raised to be boys. So I think it's very important to tell you guys what happened on Facebook, but I'm also blocked at this point. It just seems like everybody's a fucking pussy, so I just don't really know if anything's gonna come back to me from this. And if it is, I don't tend to say things I regret. There are some things that I wish I could word better, as always, and I do slip into the habit of making generalizations. Generalizations are bad. However, I do want to make it clear that whenever I do generalize, it's to simplify the language surrounding issues, inequality, and just general crappy stuff in general that's going on. So, 2.5 months ago, 2.5 months ago, I started taking pictures of my furniture. And then I didn't think about it because I deleted the Facebook app back in December. Facebook was just really bad on my mental. Every time I went on there, I was upset almost immediately. I decided to control what I can control, and I deleted the Facebook app. It's important, okay? I've also been in a lot of situations where I've had people berate me and talk down to me because of the way that white trans women act. And at first I would defend them all the time because of course. But then I noticed the problematic behaviors. And when you're raised as a male, you got a long way to go. You're not raised to be mature. You're not raised to communicate properly. You're not raised to cope. You're just not. And, not everybody is raised the same, obviously. Generalizations are not good for the community or anybody in it. But when it comes to a situation like this where we need to have a talk, it is absolutely necessary. Because cis men are the biggest oppressors. From the second you are born, you have more privilege than 50% of the population. That's the thing, okay? That you need to reel in. Because I never asked for AMABs to represent me because a lot of transphobia in general is based in misogyny. And from what I've seen from the transfem side of things is that a lot of y'all are really misogynistic too. I have heard a lot that it's common for trans women to feel like they are trans women because they failed as men, insinuating that men are better than women. And, you see where I'm getting at? There are a lot of problematic behaviors coming from y'all. A lot. And you need to be okay with, hearing that. Otherwise, give the power. Give the power somewhere else. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm just saying. If you can't do it, don't do it. This community has such little power as it is that I am not going to sit here and watch people grab up that power just to be a fucking cunt about it. Like, for what? What is your purpose of scrambling to get that power and the privilege in this community that is so torn and broken just to be a fucking dick about it? Because what happened to me, I go on Facebook, 2.5 months ago, I started taking pictures of this furniture I need to get rid of. I put it off like crazy, and I'm going to actually read to you the post that I made originally, mostly because I want to actually see how long it takes to read this out loud. But anyway, I put it off until 2 weeks before, so like until a week and 2 days ago. A week and 2 days ago, I finished typing up the post with the pictures, and I let it sit for 2 days because I did think of things later on, and I did add them on, but you know, it was time, you know, race against time. This will be a long post, so I'll put a summary here. I am looking for resources, community groups, homelessness, therapies, possible housing, looking to find people to buy and take my extra furniture, guaranteed work, no application lotteries or jobs that encourage poor workplace behavior, possible pet care. My lease is up in 2 weeks, and I procrastinated like hell to post this. I deleted my Facebook about 6 months ago, so I'll have to be vigilant to stay on top of this. Not true. I deleted the Facebook app 4 months ago. All of the photos here are things I need to get rid of fast. Originally, I was going to add descriptions for everything with an expecting price. Everything is going to be best offer. I don't mind giving some of this stuff out for free. Just keep in mind that everything you can give me will go to taking care of necessities and other expenses. For the couches, I'm willing to give them for free if you can come pick them up and get them out of here. Same with most of the stuff. There's a load of decent furniture, cosplay, dishes, and other miscellaneous stuff. If the items are small enough to fit in my car, I'll happily drive it to you for a small fee. I'm currently using DoorDash and Uber Eats for income. It's nothing extravagant, but it pays what I need for the moment. I struggle with employment because my good work ethic usually comes with issue, and people don't properly communicate when issues arise. I'm at the point where I'm tentative on just jumping into a new workplace if it's not going to provide stability and longevity. Goals and incentives are also important to me in the workplace, and we live in a time where good work is not properly rewarded. I can't seem to find a workaround for this. However, I'm working on making an animated pilot, and I am hoping to make my own income one day. Very true. I'm working so hard on that shit, guys. I'd love to get some resources, especially for leftist community groups. The advantage to not having a job or house bills to pay is I have hella time. I never get to help the community because I've always been bogged down with full-time work and a plate full of bills. I know it can benefit me in the end too, finding resources and good people, but I'd feel better if I was doing something important, like I was helping for real. People are waking up to injustices, and I feel like my voice and abilities could start helping things change for the better. I should have a place to take my cat, but in case that falls through, and any help is appreciated. She is the sweetest cat I've ever had and acts like a dog. It would be extra great if there were other cats for her to play with because she has a ton of pent-up energy and needs to play. This is still a tentative as I have other options in the process. I'm also going to try to get a hold of my vet to get my 13-year-old put down. She has cancer and a tumor that keeps growing back. If you have recommendations for places to euthanize, let me know in case I can't get it in time. And last but not least, housing. Unfortunately, it just never seems to work out in my favor, and I'm too distrusting to be in a situation where someone else is in control. At the most, I get screwed over. At the least, I just feel uncomfortable. If someone has housing available, you're free to mention it, but you're going to have to drive a hard bargain to get me to bite. Having somebody else to worry about right now just adds too much stress at this point and introduces too many uncertainties, aka I'll get fucking robbed again. Thanks for taking the time to read. It blows because I know more and more people are getting into this situation. I've managed to avoid homelessness since the beginning of 2023, which is a downright miracle, but I guess it means I'm super prepared now. Stability's great and all, but I have been a slave to the system for 12 years, and I feel like I've wasted my life. Responsibility and budgeting didn't get me anywhere, so maybe I should just do whatever. Making my animated show has become my main focus. I like the idea of being where I want to be, when I want to be, and if I can dedicate enough time to creating, I might not have to go through this again. I don't know what I don't know, so if you have advice that I didn't mention, feel free to bring it up. I'll take whatever I can get, and for the sake of doing it, here's my Cash App. Thanks. 4 minutes. It took me 4 minutes to read that. Good. I kept saying that it took me 5. I don't know how emotionally invested you were in that. I know I wasn't really trying to be emotional while reading that, but I felt like it was concise. I need a lot of things. I also edited afterwards that I needed needles for my medication, which I felt like was important. Some other stuff, not a whole lot, just some extra stuff that I could use to help me, transition into being homeless. Because you would think that your community would want you to not be homeless. Anyway, So I try to make it really concise. I write it out real nice, and I post it on the 19th. And, there needs to be post approval, totally understandable. It's really easy to, receive hate in a group like this. So it sits there for 3 days. On the second day, I submitted another post that was just the pictures, because the furniture is going to take the longest to get out, so the sooner I can post the furniture, the better. But when I posted it, I was really dumb. I didn't post the prices. I didn't go into detail like the first post. Like, when I posted the second post, like submitted the second post, I was under the impression that when the mods read, "Hey guys, I submitted another post, but it's been taking a while to get approved," that they would be like, "Okay, let me go look at that first one, and then we can delete this new one." I don't know. They approved the second post, but it was very clear that something passive aggressive was going on. But I also kind of don't know, because that day that I woke up, the third day of them not approving my post, that was the day I had to migrate, and that's when I went off on everybody, because I'm not gonna sit here and let y'all play in my face, bro. You're playing in my fucking face. Okay, so this next part, I was supposed to organize this, but I'm not gonna organize this. The next part is about all of the things in my note that I said were very important to me as a person, because I'm asking for help. There are things you should probably know. I also felt like I did a really good job at not making this a pity party. I didn't want anybody to read this like I feel sorry for myself. That was also a very important step that I took while I was typing this. No, I didn't want... I know that things are so hard for everybody that I don't want anybody to feel like I think my problems are more important than theirs. My problems might be a lot bigger than most people, but they're not more important. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost in the sauce, because my only goal in life is to help people the best way I can, because I'm really good at that. And people want to just misconstrue the fuck out of that. Again, we live in a really shitty world. So I guess I get it, but that's just not my goal, dude. On top of, trying to make it sound concise, there were a few things I brought up that I felt were important. Like how I have a lot of stuff, like, just like anything that's in my house, for the most part, I'm selling. And I also kind of like was hoping that people would be like, "Oh, well, if you make a date, we can do like a queering indie estate sale." Like the group itself, like, "Oh, well, if you're free this Friday, we can help you run an estate sale or something." I don't know. Who knows? You can do so fucking much as an individual, especially when you're in a group. What the hell? So that's not what I got at all, because I didn't approve this post. But that aside. So it was important for everybody to know that there was a lot more than what just the pictures were, and that I wanted to find good homes for my stuff without overcharging the community, things that people might need, things that I will give away for free if that helps, because it's my community and that's what I want to do. It feels way better to give away this stuff than to go through and sell it, or to just drop it off at Goodwill. I mean, Goodwill still feels pretty good, I'm not gonna lie, because at the end of the day, somebody is gonna get that, but they're gonna be paying a lot more at Goodwill than what they would be paying me. So, I'm just always doing what I can to try to help people in my community. If you're going to take the power from this community, then be a good fucking person. If not, give it back. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. So I told everybody how I was making income, so people want to be pushy about getting jobs. A lot of times, "You need to get a job. Okay, so that's why I brought up DoorDash, so that people would know that I had a job. I was transparent about the fact that workplace abuse is just something I'm not into, and that I am not very willing to live with somebody because of abuse also, and also just getting robbed and taken advantage of. I also bring up that I'm doing my own thing. Again, like, I have a life plan. I don't want to be forced into something I don't want to do. I also mentioned the leftist community groups, and here in the future, I think the stinkiest to me, because something tells me that the people in charge of the Queering Indie page saw that and they felt threatened. And I don't say that because, like, I'm cocky and conceited. I say that because, story of my life, I've lost a lot of jobs where I do a good job, and because I do a good job, I either trip people up doing their job wrong, or they just start looking at me like I'm a problem. And it's very unfortunate, because when you have a job, you are there to do a job, and me doing my job properly and well should not feel like a threat because I don't care what other people are doing when I'm working. It's the second that injustice is committed that I go off the fucking handle because I'm sick of it. We're all sick of it. We're all sick of the injustice. We're all sick of the microaggressions. We're all sick of it. I've been marching. I was ostracized since I was 11 fucking years old because of it never was a question for me. I didn't come out as trans until I was 23, but I sure as shit stood up for people of color my whole life. Every single time there was a minority getting spoken down on, I was fucking on top of it. I was loud, and you weren't able to shut me the fuck up about it. And that's why I think that leftists need more people like me because you act like you don't have a spine. And when you're falling short of your expectation, letting people down, you play victim. And quite frankly, I really don't need people like that in my community. So let's get back a little bit. There was one more thing in the letter, I think specifically, that I think really made this worse, So, wanting to be a community leader, I think they got their panties in a tangle. I don't know. AMAP people usually are just born with the idea that nobody's better than them, even though, the bar is so low. And again, and I do want to add, when the bar is on the ground, that doesn't mean it's time to bury it. Yeah, only two other things. And so the other thing would be the fact that I asked, please make this easy. I hate asking for help. People are just very quick to take advantage of me and to make me look bad. You do the right thing. People find that as a threat. And I'm tired of being intimidating when all I'm trying to do is what I think is right. So, get fucked. The other thing, I don't understand what's so productive about doing the exact opposite of what helps your community. After stealing the power, after hoarding the power, after making the entire community about yourself, what's the point? What are you gaining besides entitlement and power? Didn't you suffer from that too? Or do you still not understand how harmful the patriarchy really is? Do you really not understand that your behaviors are the most toxic thing about this world that we live in? Or do you really think that you've spent long enough fixing yourself, changing yourself, bettering yourself to actually represent us in a way that we deserve? Because I don't think so. The other thing I guess that I should have mentioned and I didn't was that I deleted the Facebook app months ago, like I had said, and I should have mentioned, but I didn't want to make it too long. But what I needed to add was that I deleted Facebook because it's terrible for my mental health. It makes me spiral. It makes me feel terrible. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm so tired. I'm tired. But I guess not as tired as the admins at Queering Indie. So what happened? You might be asking yourself, because we're 28 minutes in and I still haven't explained what happened. So on the third day, they approved the post, and I woke up with a migraine. I actually went to bed with a migraine, too. It started with the lights. There was a row of lights in front of my eyes, and I was like, crap, I need to go eat. So I went to go eat. I just grabbed some McDonald's. I spent $3 at McDonald's. I didn't even eat at all. I waste most. I don't eat. I should, but I can't. Came back here. Still felt really bad because my headache was still forming. Somebody told me that they published your post, but it was the wrong post. And then I got pissed off because it wasn't the right post. There were 40 comments. There were 40 comments on that post. How much? And I was like, bro, I worked really hard on my first post to avoid stuff like this. And I couldn't see on top of that. I could barely read. I could barely type. Because if you've had those migraines before, it's lights in front of your vision. You're basically blind. And my left hand always goes numb too, and my left foot goes numb, and then my lips go numb. So when I have those really bad migraines, I can't get a diagnosis for anything. And then I go into this community to try to ask for help, and they treat me like a joke. So I pretty much reply to every single post like, hey, can you just ask the admins for me to like approve that, because I have to get on my laptop to use Facebook. I don't have the app. So I have to go out of my way. I have to upload the photos to Drive or like tether my phone just to upload them to Facebook. I have to do a lot of extra steps to be doing this right now. And I tried so hard to make it cohesive and to make it easy on everybody involved in the process. I don't know if they got something stuck up their ass because I edited the post a couple of times. I don't know if they're notified if the post that they're waiting on gets edited, but if that was the thing that made them do all this, they can get fucked for real. And it really wasn't anything aggressive. It was just like, hey, I can't really see right now. And it was just like, please just message the admins to approve the other post. If you want to know, if you want to see and you're eager to know what this furniture is, you let them know. Yeah, because we're a community and we help each other and we shouldn't be afraid to ask for help. And I leave. That's when I go get food. So I leave, I get food, $3 at McDonald's. Bada bing, bada boom. I come back home, I check the post. There's still a bunch of comments. And then I think I leave it. Like, I left it for like 3 hours. Yeah, because I went to take a nap. I took a nap for 2 hours because I was really hoping it would just, I took medication and I was hoping the nap would knock out my migraine and I would be able to function like a human being again. That did not happen. And so I woke up after 2 hours. The migraine was just too much to even go back to sleep. So I get back on to Facebook against my will. It really feels against my will because I don't want to be on Facebook. I'm on Facebook right now waiting for people to get this furniture and I don't want to be on here. It's miserable. So I woke up still with this terrible headache that didn't go away. Migraine. It was a migraine. I don't get headaches. And I get back on my computer thinking that they've approved it because I've been patient. I waited 3 days and then I told everybody, hey, let the admins know I'm in a lot of pain. And if you want to know these prices, let the admins know because I already have that information and I'm in pain. So I leave for like 3 hours and then I come back. I come back to a fucking pity party. After everything I did to try to not be miserable. You know what's funny about being out by March 31st? It means that my lease is up on April Fool's because my life is a fucking joke. And I am so happy that my own community worked so hard to make me feel less than any way they've ever felt in their lives. So, the comments, they're all gone by now. I'm assuming they took screenshots because they went through and they liked every single one. These are the people who didn't have time because they're tired. Okay, because I'm about to tell you the comments. Comments are all deleted. The post is deleted. I'm blocked from the page. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to sit here and let y'all act like fucking because we don't do that in our community. It's unacceptable, 100%. I didn't ask for people like you to represent me. I don't want cruelty to rule your decisions. Like, fuck you. No. I would never turn somebody away who needed it. Pathetic behavior. So the comments that I come back to, two of them were about how they were robots. Like, y'all think we were robots, which I think is weird because I think by now we all understand that if you're working with AI and robots, that they're really quick at summarizing a page. And so honestly, from your complete inaction, I already know that you are not robots. I didn't think you were to begin with because I don't dehumanize people, but sure, buddy. Y'all need to understand that we are tired. Huh. You know what mansplaining is? Do you know what my username's been for the last 8 years? Did you know I've been woke since I was 11 years old? Did you know that I was made fun of throughout middle school and high school because everybody thought feminism was something I made up to get attention? Did you know that I predicted inflation 16 years ago because I listened to professionals? Get fucked. I'm not the guy. I am so not the guy. Y'all need to start admitting when you're wrong. because all you're going to do is make yourself look fucking stupid. Because I don't care if I look stupid. That's the thing. That is like the golden thing. I have never cared if I look stupid. You know what I do care about? Saying the right thing and treating people the way that they deserve. But if you don't want to learn, I'm not going to be nice. So I think it was to the tired post where I said, to be frank, if this is too much for you, then there are plenty of people out there like me on the edge of their seat waiting to help the community and make a real positive difference in the world. And I think that was it. I'm pretty sure that was the comment. Because again, I don't have screenshots. I'm just not petty like that. I'm not here to, like, look at this person, they're so bad and I'm so good. I'm not that great. I'm not. I can't. People treat me wrong and I just can't. I can't. Fuck you. The only other comment that I think was made was, y'all never want to have this energy in public. And I hated my answer to that. Could have been so much more clever, because what I should have said was, it's probably because you don't give us enough room to even be there in real life. But instead I said, well, then you should meet me face to face because I'm a good teacher, because I am a good teacher. And because if y'all want to act ignorant, then maybe it's time that, because we don't accept this behavior at all. No, I don't care. You are running a Facebook group where you're pretending like you care about people whose power you stole. Do something with it. I don't want to hear you complain. I'd rather you just not say anything. They said their comments, and there was only, they left their comments, and then I left my comments that I said, and then they left one more round of comments, and then I just I went off, because the thing that made me angry, they were like, oh, you can go out of your way to message them through Messenger if they're not, replying in time. And I was like, but the mods are aware because I made those comments. I had a migraine. I couldn't think, I couldn't see, and you wanted me to go out of my way. The other comment was, part of one of those comments was, I really have family in the hospital right now, and I can't. This is too much. Like, what? Then why the fuck are you on Facebook? Because whenever I'm suffering, I don't sit around on fucking Facebook. The other mods can take care of it. So why are you complaining when you're going out of your way to be on Facebook while your family is suffering? Not to mention that you're completely taking advantage of the fact that you have people that you love in your life that support you, that you have something to care about, that they have proper medical diagnosis, that they're getting real medical treatment. You have so many privileges that you are just pretending like you don't fucking have. That's what I'm hearing. I came to this group, went out of my way to have courage to do something that I don't do because of this fucking bullshit. And y'all want to pretend like your lives are worse than me as a response to you being inactive to the struggles of others? Because to me, it feels like the only reason why there are 5 Transfem Facebook moderators is because y'all don't want to represent anybody else. And that's what I'm getting from that. So I was told to message the group, and I was like, oh, thanks for being so helpful. Because you could have just pinged someone for me. I can't fucking see you. So I do message the group, and, I was just real cordial about it, like I am. That's like my default setting, is to be cordial and kind. Just like, hey, if you don't mind approving that first post, I would really appreciate it. And they were like, I'm tired. I'm going to do it in the morning. And then for the next 30 minutes, they like every single comment that I left on the post, even every single one that just said, hey, can you ask the mods for me real quick if they can approve the original post, because I can't see, because I am blind right now. They liked every single one. And then they spent more time leaving comments that just didn't make sense about how hard their lives were. Then get the fuck out of our community and stop taking our power from us. I call it fake activism, when there's a group of people who act like they really, really care about their community, but the second they do something problematic and somebody calls them out for it, they destroy their own community. And that is why I'm making this video. This is what my activism looks like. I left over 30 Facebook posts tagging the group, even though they have blocked me long ago, but I tagged the hashtag, not the ad, I hashtagged them. So it's there for everybody to see if you want to see it. And then I'm making this video because what I think activism is actually fucking doing something about it. I was treated with injustice within my own community by a bunch of people who were raised to be oppressors and to weaponize their privilege. And now they are still oppressing and they are still weaponizing their privilege. Why are we allowing that? And why are we giving what little power this community has to a bunch of fuck asses who want to watch us suffer because life is just too hard? We are so capable of making this world a good place for everybody. Technology can make this place so good for everybody. Why are we letting shitty people... Like, it's bad enough that we have Trump and Elon, like, fake geniuses, tons of essay allegations, not a single original idea. Understanding the leaders that we have now in society, I'm not surprised that the leaders of the trans community are not only slacking, but really awful people. And if they're not awful people, then they should have reached out to me and talked to me like a person and validated my feelings, rather than treating me like a bug on the wall. Because I've suffered a lot. Because I wasn't born with a dick. I wasn't born to be much of anything. And you could have been whatever you wanted. And you chose to be oppressors. I just don't think that AMABs have the emotional maturity to treat this situation the way that it needs to be treated. And if y'all want to prove me wrong, then stop being passive observers in the corner. Because every time I think a trans woman's going to stand up for me, or respect me, or treat me like an equal, she doesn't. I don't understand why trans women keep insisting on holding what little power this community has when they already have so much power on their own, and when they're going to misuse that power, and when they're not going to use that power to make positive change. Blows my mind. And plus, their big movement was getting Coca-Cola removed from a store. And now that store only has 3 Coca-Cola faucets. Don't know what Coca-Cola did because I'm out of the loop. Probably like transphobic or something, but who isn't? I don't know. We have the power to do so much, and we're just letting the wrong fucking people tell us what to do. At the end of the day, I'm gonna do shit that nobody else has done. Was there anything else that I missed? Oh, right. I should conclude this with how I would have done it better. This is always my favorite part because I can always do it better. So this is how I would have done it. Hey, Seth. Really sorry it wasn't approved. These posts get backed up, so we tend to put off the longer posts till later. Now that we know you have a longer post, I'll go find it. I might even use Ctrl+F if I'm able to quicker find your name. I understand you're having a rough time, but please do be patient. We usually don't make people wait more than 24 hours, so your frustration is justified. We did everything you said has been upsetting you. I promise that I'm dedicating time to your post as soon as I can. You matter a lot to us. We want you to find help. We want you to be safe and alive, and we want to see the LGBT community thrive. Let us know if there's something else. That's what I would have done if I was an admin. I know it's not your job to do this. You're not getting paid to do this. But the fact that you're squandering privilege and power, it makes me fucking mad. All of the ways that trans women have been discriminated against and treated poorly. And then y'all want to treat us the same exact way. I don't get it. I really don't. She's licking my hair. You just really picked the wrong person, you know? Jeez. There was somebody in the comments that was like, oh my gosh, you're going to be homeless? Because I mentioned it so casually, because I don't want people to think I want them to feel bad for me. I wish us the best of luck.
Damn, I'm just gonna have to record without the microphone because my laptop just died and I gotta move out of here soon. Where's my charger? There's my charger. It was very frustrating as soon as I read the comment.
Awesome. So when they made the comment about how like their lives were so hard because their family was in the hospital, this was after I was commenting on the post that I couldn't see migraine and that my hand was going numb. Pretty sure I mentioned that. I can't remember, but like, I'm sorry. I keep repeating it because I feel like I have to justify why I feel the way I feel because y'all just made me feel like dirt. You made me feel the way that people made you feel for the longest time for being inadequate, and now you're making me feel that way for like caring about people. Fuck you. I'm holding you accountable. I'm holding you to a standard that a leader should be held to. I am not going to be okay with you taking the power when you treat us like this. Like, what the? We don't do that here.
Since I didn't write anything, I keep having ideas of things that I missed that I said. It makes me mad because for a group of people who used to throw the first brick, you guys are so eager to throw shade and people out of your community. And I don't know who told you could do that. What I really dislike about this situation is there's a lot of gaslighting going on and a lot of microaggression. Because by spending all that time liking all of my posts and then doing what they did, turn off the comments and then like block me altogether, they've made it very clear that they are trans women of color, which means that they know how to be manipulative like that. So they're doing it on purpose. They're treating me like an abuser because all that they know is how to weaponize their privilege. I will say I also forgot to note that I did make 3 memes that I think it's Drake, right? The and then the meme because I was so fucking mad. Like imagine putting all of that energy into beating someone down who is less privileged and fortunate than you just to say you're too tired to help. And that's how they led. That they led with, I am too tired to use my position of power to stop the suffering of people that I'm supposed to protect. And that's just over and over in my head. That is the thing that plays on repeat, is the fact that like that is malicious. It's terrible. It's awful. And like I know I said some pretty nasty stuff. I know I did. But the thing is I feel a lot of different ways and nobody's listening to me and everybody's silencing me and everybody's ignoring me just like they did before. Nothing changed. The only thing that changed, nothing changed. AMABs are still oppressing me and the people like me. AMABs are still talking over and for me and getting it wrong. Grow up. And then also, I remember I had said how, like, the admins are more eager to approve a post giving out free stuff than they are to approve a post of somebody who needs resources. That was also a point of mine that I had. And I also think that it's very pathetic that reading is considered a chore. It's your fucking job to use that power to help your community. I've been so fucking unhinged. Like I feel like I'm losing my mind because I feel like I feel like this is the Truman Show. I've been feeling it for a long time. And I know that there's nothing I can do about it, but like what the fuck? You don't represent anybody. You represent yourselves. There's nothing I hate more than people who fight for nobody's rights except for their own. Because I've never hesitated. I am sick and tired of only hearing the words trans men are men only after the phrase trans women are women. Why do you have to be put first as if when you were the oppressors, you were still being put first? It sucks being a marginalized community, but you represent it. Any person of color, any marginalized person, they all know that if you act out in public, you're representing your community and you're making your community look bad. I don't understand why trans women don't seem to understand this, although I do, and it probably has to do with the fact that they were raised as boys, and that's just sad. But unfortunately, we don't raise men right. They get away with everything. There are no repercussions. There's no accountability. And there's no sense of doing better. So please don't try to convince me that anything you've worked on has been beneficial for me when all you have done is use your power to hurt. I don't have evidence of it, but I'm pretty sure that half of the people that came to my DMs today after posting on Facebook Marketplace was from that group, because there were a couple of them that had mutual friends, and a lot of, they were all, so if that is true, because I don't like to jump to conclusions, I like to have evidence and reasoning, but evidence and reasoning leads me to believe that AMABs are bullies who only use power to hurt their own community because they don't like to feel threatened whenever they underperform. So I'm really worried that the reason why I have gotten to the point where I actually have to copy and paste a message in these marketplace messages is because Queering Indie has decided that they're going to spend immense amount of effort, time, resources, and community effort to harass me because I was right. Anyway, like I said, I could be wrong about that part, but I'm pretty certain there's been a lot of people that have been trans women, or another really weird thing is a lot of the people have just had a wedding photo as their main photo, so that's weird. That kind of feels body for me. I can tell which accounts are being bots and which ones aren't, and I can only assume that it's Queering Indie because they know what I was trying to sell, and even though they blocked me, they have like a community that could help people, but they just want to attack people. Like I said, I don't know if it's necessarily true, but I actually did message one of the people and I said, it's actually ridiculous how this community spends more time breaking each other down than actually trying to help. Because I was like positive that Queering Indie people were messaging me, and then I blocked them right away because I didn't want to be wrong. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't want them to try to pretend I was wrong. I didn't want me to be wrong for real. I didn't even really want to be right. I just didn't want to interact with it. I just had a really strong feeling, and they had a mutual friend, and they were also in the community. So I said that, and then I blocked them. And as soon as I did that, silence. I didn't get any more postings for like a long time. All the messages stopped, and now they're back up again. See, as soon as they send that message, I control V. I'm not about to type out, I don't, is this still available? Because I know that was something I was irritated about because everybody was asking me how much, is it still there? And I'm like, bro, I can't read. I'm in too much pain to read. And yeah, by the end of it, they knew that I deleted the app for my mental. They knew that I had a crippling migraine. And they knew that not having the app meant that I had to do several extra steps to upload my photos that I had. And since they wouldn't approve the post, I had to do it one by one in the comments if that was really what I chose to do. Like, the thing that I really, really hated about them going one by one and liking my posts, besides the fact that that took a lot of time for them to do that they wouldn't give to me, was the fact that Facebook isn't good for my mental health. I can't be on it. I can't be on it, otherwise I feel bad. I feel real bad because Facebook does that thing where it shows you things that are going to make you mad on purpose. I can't do that. I can't. It's why I don't do TikTok either. I'm not gonna subject myself to having mental health issues. For what? And so I hate asking for help. I did something that was bad for me, being on Facebook, reaching out for help in a community that's supposed to help me. They knew all of this. And by them liking, it was like a post a minute. Like, I don't know if they were trying to prove a point of like, it took me a whole minute to read this comment saying, admins, please approve the message. Like, how much of my time you're wasting. That's what it felt like. And that's so it was just like a ticking bomb. And they knew what they were doing. Of course they know how to manipulate people and make them upset. Come on, being a minority comes with the fact that you know exactly what it takes to make somebody feel bad. I used to do that when I was a little kid. When I was 18, I decided that I shouldn't be a piece of shit. But I've been through so much and I'm so mentally fucked at this point. I can't. I don't care. Oh no, I'm me. Oh no, I'm disrespectful. Don't fucking disrespect me first then. I'm the nicest person you've ever met. And I really need everybody to get treated the way that they need to be treated. If you're falling short and somebody's calling you out, I'm falling short. Stop falling short. Be mad at your own goddamn self and give that power to somebody who can cope. Period. Stop playing in my fucking face. We deserve better. So I guess like what I was trying to say is if they're actually genuinely sending all of these people to my inbox to make my mental health worse, bro. Again, I can't technically prove it. I like with the page blocking me, which was so unnecessary. I made some memes. I forgot to mention that too. I made some mean-spirited memes because I felt disrespected, and I don't know if these people messaging me are plants. Alright. And if I'm gonna go vlog style for, like, you know, when I'm living in my car, I might as well do it for this. It's the day after. I went to bed around midnight, and it was really weird while I was sleeping. It was one of those nights where it wasn't like I was sleeping, where I kept waking up as I slept. Kind of, you know, where like the first 6 hours, it felt like I wasn't asleep. I was just in my bed, not really sleeping, but I was sleeping. Whatever, it's fine. I didn't sleep well. But I also usually don't go to sleep at midnight. I have a doctor's appointment in 40 minutes that I need to leave for soon. I'm only allowed to have doctor appointments once every 6 months because I matter. So as for this situation, I still can't confirm or deny if they sent a lot of people to my marketplace, but it is kind of ridiculous. Like over 1,000 clicks on that one listing of the stuff that they knew I was selling. That's just really suspicious. There were a lot of clicks on that post, and most people just ghosted me whenever they messaged. So it's just really fishy. And even if I am wrong, like, I don't know. I just, you know, after what they did and after they weaponized their privilege, it makes sense. When you're dealing with somebody who's gaslighting you, they're going to manipulate you in a way that you can't keep track, you know? Like, they're going to cover their asses if they're actually doing this to me because they understand that it's a very vile thing to do and is exactly what I'm calling them out on. So, whatever. Are you... Sorry, I didn't mean to, like, offend. So, I'm a little bit more calmed down now, but there was some... I started recording because there was something else I wanted to say, and then I was like, oh, I should probably preface this. I don't know, I guess I'm just sleeping really bad. I'm, you know, back to that feeling of everybody being against me. Oh, right, confirmation bias. I really think that they just took confirmation bias and ran with it. People find that really easy to do with me. I am a very multi-layered person. I'm like an onion, and a lot of people are very lazy about it. They see the first couple layers, and then they're like, I'm going to make assumptions, and they're going to be wrong assumptions, and then I get fucked. So yeah, I just wanted to bring up confirmation bias is also really bad. I'm just trying to like sort things out, you know. I'm trying to understand if there was an ulterior motive to begin with. People are whack. And what about being a woman do trans women think is the part where they treat people like this? Because that's nasty. Women hold each other up. And I know I'm not a whammon. No, I'm not a whammon. But, why are y'all so fucking selfish and rude? And why don't you let us speak? And why don't you give us space and platforms? And why is it that the language you use is embarrassing and doesn't speak for the community as a whole? And why is it that the language itself is very misogynistic to begin with? Very serious questions. That's today's vlog. Hi. Hello. I think it's finally time to finish up this video. I just got back from Colossal Con. I mean, I'm technically still on my way back from Colossal Con. I'm basically home. And I have had plenty of time to think about this. Especially since everywhere I go, I'm surrounded by trans people. Which is great, but also sad. Because I think I could also rightfully make a problem with trans men video as well. Don't know if I would. I don't know. We'll get there when we get there. So I've had time to think. Basically, the conclusion that I have come to is that there was just too much info. And I'm the type of person to completely understand that. There was a lot in that post. But the way the situation was treated was still just so weird, because they could have reached out to me and I would have been perfectly fine with this. And they could have said, hey, your post is a little on the long side and we don't want to overwhelm the members in the group. If you wouldn't mind refining the post just to cover a few base points, we would appreciate it. It would keep the conversation on topic, and by bringing up a few main key points, people who are specialized in certain areas can assist you and offer their help when they see it. And that would have been it. But that's just too much work. It's less work to make comments about how hard your life is, and it's less work to interact with all of your posts without actually replying, and it's less work to write a long Facebook message about boo-hoo me, I'll do it in the morning because me tired. But I don't think all that's less work at all. And we've just come to a point, I know, in society where that's just the way people act, but like, again, it just comes full circle. I spent my whole life being oppressed by people with dicks, and now I'm still getting beaten down by people with dicks. So they still don't want to put in the work. Be a fucking woman, bro. Because women get shit done. Women are productive. Women care for people. I stick true to what I said. Trans women stick to misogynistic stereotypes, and I'm tired of seeing it.
Because we need to be really real here. It is a whole trope for men to joke about how they don't understand women, to the point where it's a part of the male experience just to accept that women are difficult instead of learning proper communication skills. And you're telling me that I have no choice but to be represented by a group of people who don't even understand themselves enough to avoid those misogynistic stereotypes? If being a woman is universally understood to be a harder experience, the fuck aren't trans men fully represented by the community, and where is their power?
Trans men, their issue is that they understand the only way to be treated like people is to dress like women. And again, I could make a video on that because of this weekend. There is definitely a trans boy archetype, the popular trans boy archetype, and they really feed into it, and they dress like girls, and it makes them popular. And it really, really hurts the rest of the community who doesn't look like that. I don't know, gender wars are tiring. They're very tiring. I'm very, very tired of how every gender and every section of gender has these regulations and expectations, or what's acceptable without being excluded. There's just too much exclusion in the trans community. There's too much exclusion in every community, but it's just weird. It's weird. I've definitely dropped a lot of friends in the past who were trans that wanted to be gatekeepers. Trans friends that were like the opposite of that, where like they didn't act their gender. And it's not like acting your gender per se in the traditional sense. It's more so of like, if you are disgusted by the idea of being a woman, what makes you so confident in wearing wigs and makeup and booty shorts and tights and shit? Like, I did that this weekend because I think it's fun sometimes when it's raving and everybody's showing off their bodies, but I'm still going to wear a binder and dress masculine even if I'm wearing these feminine clothes. Whereas everybody else, they just want to look like girls. It's not like femme mask mix. It's just, I want everybody to look at me and look at me as a woman until they start talking to me, and then they realize, oh, you're on testosterone and your voice, like, you know, trans men have like a certain voice, whatever. So today, I think June 2nd, second day of Pride, not that it matters, it's the most miserable month for me, but I'm really hoping that gets back to me. I have not talked to her a whole lot. I know that it's very tiring after cons. I've already jokingly offered to and she said it's far, and I said 6 hours is nothing. I would love to see you again, but nothing beyond that. I hope to talk to her more because there's lots that I want to say, but I'm not going to tell it to you first. I don't need to rehearse it. Sorry, you don't know anything about what I'm talking about. Anyway, yes, this isn't an update. But no, I just wanted to conclude out this whole mess of a video because I'm emotional. You know, I'm bipolar. I have the highs and the lows. I've worked my whole life on regulation, and the fact that I'm so rough with it just shows you how hard it must have been when it all started. when I was born. And I do hope that occasionally people tell that I try really, really hard. But in a world where I'm constantly surrounded by people who are like, I'm sorry, I don't understand things because I'm autistic, but then consistently misread my behaviors, is never going to stop blowing my mind. Never. Like, oh, you might not understand me. I might be weird because I'm autistic, but then like I come along and I'm a little weird because a lot of things, and then people are like, yeah. The whole enjoying things are cringe. Why am I doing an update? I typically try to end things in a rational mindset, because I know when the video started I was very irrational because it just happened. But that's why it was important for me to record it, because people put me in this state and then they just leave me there to suffer. And it's disgusting. And I'm always embarrassed when I act that way, but at the end of the day, somebody had to do something to make me feel that way. Every severed relationship in my life has been because somebody treated me poorly, and not only did they not care to understand why I felt that way, but then they make me feel bad for reacting in a way that isn't normal. But that's what happens when somebody who has poor regulation is treated like garbage. I do everything that I can in my power to make things easier for other people, to make things cohesive, to try to cover all my bases so that I can help people help me, because they're not fucking good at it. I hate getting the message that I just need to not ask people for help, because the message is I need to do better at asking people for help. But what bothers me is when I do a poor job at asking for help, I'm not going to know I'm doing a poor job at it because I don't do it a lot. And oftentimes, the people that I ask for help, because I ask poorly, don't know how to help me. But then they don't understand how to ask me what I need, how to ask me how to best help me. So it's always going to be a fault at both sides. I always take accountability. I know I'm a fucking mess because I have no support system. I've done everything on my own my entire life, pushed myself so far every single time. I've been burnout for 3 years straight, past burnout. I don't know how to explain it to people because they're like, we're burnout too. Bitch, no you're not. You don't know what burned out is because you didn't get depressed until 20 motherfucking 20. Congrats on your transition, because now you have a support system, but you're deciding who doesn't deserve one. And that is what is so sad and pathetic. Everybody wants to be all boo-hoo about themselves when there are people like me who have learned how to navigate through those feelings and learn how to help people through that, and you leave us high and dry and we kill ourselves. Why is the world so bad, you ask? Why is everything so hard, you yell? It's because you let people who want to help you suffer. And then they become like you. And things keep getting worse and worse and worse because nobody wants to have a fucking spine and do what's right because it's punishable. At the end of the day, I think that's all that needs to be said. Everything that has accumulated in this video over the last couple months is pretty much everything that I want to say about this. And it's a video that needs to be posted on my YouTube because I have posted 10 vlogs at this point, and I need this to be addressed because it is a missing episode. It is a passionate episode, and it really adds a lot of insight to what kind of person I am, how I react to things, how I'm treated, how I just don't fucking get people. I get people. I know what to do for them. I know how to treat them. I know how to provide for them, and I know how to help them, but I don't understand how to make them understand me. I don't understand how to get them to understand I don't have bad intentions. I'm at the crux of a lot of things right now, the precipice. A lot of things are about to change and I can feel it, but my frustration is shared by a lot of people, and people deserve to see this and understand that what's expected of you is never the answer. What makes people treat you nice and pretty is never the answer. But most importantly, if you're gonna hold power in a community where you're supposed to be doing at least a little bit of fucking good, do your good. This ain't good. This is damaging. And it's pathetic. I just hope we can do better. June 2nd, Pride Month, whoopee yay. You know, I hope I can go meet the girl of my dreams, and with her I can have fun at Pride for once in the last 5 years. I'm hopeful. I'm always hopeful, and I always do my best to stay in a positive mindset because I've worked so hard on emotional regulation, but it breaks my heart. So many things break my heart. Being treated like a predator breaks my heart. Being treated like I am not a part of the community breaks my heart. It just breaks my heart. Good luck to everybody. Do better. Pick your leaders better. Stop holding shitty people up like they're good, and stop beating good people down. And life will get so much better. The answer is always so easy, but you never want to listen to it.